In February 1959, 9 young hikers set out on a skiing expedition in the frozen mountains of Russia. They were experienced, well-prepared, and confident. But 2 weeks later, searchers found their tent ripped open from the inside, their belongings left behind, and the hikers themselves scattered across the snow. Half-dressed, barefoot, and dead in the most bizarre and terrifying ways imaginable. Some had fractured skulls and broken ribs, but no signs of external trauma. One woman was missing her tongue. Another was missing her eyes. To this day, no one knows what really happened on that mountain. This is the story of the Dyatlov Pass incident, one of the strangest mysteries of the 20th century. The group was led by Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student. Along with 8 other hikers, mostly students and recent graduates, they were experienced, fit, and skilled outdoorsmen. Their goal was to reach Otorten Mountain in the northern Urals, a route that would earn them the highest grade of certification in Soviet hiking. They packed skis, tents, journals, and cameras. Among them were 2 women, Zina Kolmogorova and Lyudmila Dubinina, and 7 men, including Dyatlov himself. For them, this wasn't just a trip. It was a test of endurance, a way to prove themselves against the harsh Russian wilderness. On January 25, 1959, the group traveled by train and then truck, making their way toward the mountains. Their spirits were high. Photographs from their cameras show them smiling, laughing, even playing in the snow. But as they reached the last settlement, one member, Yuri Yudin, fell ill and had to turn back. He would become the only survivor of the Dyatlov expedition, because he never made it to the mountain. The remaining 9 pushed forward. On February 1st, they reached the slopes of a peak known as Kholat Syakhl, or Mountain of the Dead, in the local Mansi language. There, they set up camp for the night. That was the last time anyone saw them alive. When the group failed to send word back as scheduled, search teams were sent out. What they found shocked even hardened rescuers. The tent was discovered first. It was still standing, but it had been slashed open from the inside. Their boots, coats, and food were still there, untouched. Following the tracks in the snow, searchers found the first 2 bodies under a cedar tree, almost a mile from the tent. They were dressed in only their underwear and socks, lying next to a small fire. Their hands were raw, their bodies frozen. Nearby, 3 more bodies were found, including Dyatlov himself. Their position suggested they were trying to crawl back to the tent. It took 2 more months to find the remaining 4 hikers, buried under deep snow in a ravine. And what rescuers found there defied explanation. One had a fractured skull. 2 others had broken ribs so severe that their internal organs were crushed. Injuries more consistent with a car crash than a fall. Lyudmila Dubinina, the 20-year-old student, was missing her eyes. Her tongue had been ripped out. Yet there were no signs of struggle. No footprints except their own. And no explanation for why they had fled their tent half-naked into sub-zero temperatures. The Soviet investigation ruled the cause of death as a compelling natural force, a vague explanation that only deepened suspicion. Over the decades, theories piled up. Theory 1. Avalanche. Some believe an avalanche forced the group to cut their way out of the tent and flee. But rescuers reported no evidence of an avalanche, and the tent was still standing. Theory 2. Military testing. The Ural Mountains were used for secret Soviet experiments. Some believe the hikers stumbled into a test of parachute mines or chemical weapons. Their injuries could have been caused by shock waves. Some of their clothing was found to be radioactive. Theory 3. Paradoxical undressing. In extreme hypothermia, victims sometimes remove their clothes due to nerve misfiring. But this doesn't explain the broken bones and missing organs. Theory 4. UFOs. Strange lights were reported in the sky the night of their deaths. Some speculate the hikers encountered something otherworldly. Theory 5. The Mansi people. Locals were initially suspected, but investigators found no evidence of attack. The Mansi themselves avoided that mountain, calling it cursed. Each theory explains part of the mystery, but none explain all of it. One of the strangest details was the tent itself. It wasn't collapsed, and it wasn't destroyed. It had been deliberately cut from the inside, as if the hikers desperately wanted to escape. But escape from what? The footprints showed that some hikers walked calmly away, barefoot, in single file. Others ran, but there was no sign of anyone chasing them. And the injuries, crushed ribs, fractured skulls, missing eyes, missing tongue. These details continue to haunt investigators. Some claim the bodies were mutilated after death by animals. Others say the missing tongue was a symbolic act, or proof of something more sinister. And then there's the radiation. Several pieces of clothing were found to be contaminated, though how and why remains unexplained. In recent years, some researchers have suggested a rare phenomenon called a katabatic wind, a sudden violent gust of air that can mimic an avalanche and terrify campers. Others have simulated snow slabs collapsing onto the tent. But even those theories can't account for all the details. To this day, the Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of the most baffling unsolved mysteries in history. 9 hikers went into the mountains, and something drove them into the snow, where they died in the most chilling and unexplained ways. What really happened on that frozen slope in 1959? Was it nature, man? Or something beyond our understanding? Some questions may never be answered, and as always, the watcher sees what others do not. If you've made it this far, you're one of us now. But be warned. Once you look into these mysteries, they tend to look back. So, before the next story finds you, make sure you like this video and subscribe to Grimoria. That way, you won't have to wander alone in the dark. Until next time, welcome back to Grimoria.